crazy, but I just sat here for an hour and 40 minutes just talking all by myself. So I can definitely do it. And I need your guys' help because the promotion thing, I'm not too good with. But all of you guys were awesome on the podcast last week. So we got to get you guys on it more. And we got to push this podcast to all your college campuses because one day I'm going to retire from my real job and I'm going to try and take this sports shit to the next level. And you guys are going to all come with me. Just one thing to say because I got to get upstairs. Okay. One thing to say about my favorite baseball team. I got one thing to say and one thing to thank my owner for. Say anything you want about all these teams that did what they did. Look, Yankees, whether you wanted Soto, whether you didn't want Soto, you did good. You got pitching. You did good. You got some hitters. You got some ballers. You got some guys out there to play baseball. I'm not hating. I'm not a Yankee hater. You guys all know that about me. Okay? From the bottom of my heart, the Mets made the best decision they could possibly make. And when I say that is Pete Alonso signing with the New York Mets the other day puts that team into contention to win the World Series. The reason I say that is it's not just because it's Pete Alonso. So Pete Alonso could have left. Pete Alonso could have went to go sign a contract somewhere, let's say Chicago, Seattle, you name your team. Doesn't even matter if that was a team that was going to the World Series. Pete Alonso needs a team that wants Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso needs to be on a team where everybody thinks Pete Alonso is the jokester. Pete Alonso wants to be comfortable in an atmosphere where people like him. The New York Mets like him. His best friends are on the team. He's going to play better on the Mets than he would have played on any baseball team in the major leagues. And that is a personality trait with him. I think if Pete had to get comfortable going somewhere else, there'd be a lot of growing pains. If Pete had to go somewhere else where he had to instantaneously be the guy. Okay, let's say Seattle, not even Seattle because they got a guy. Let's say the Cincinnati Reds hire Pete Alonso. They got a guy too, but let's say they hire Pete Alonso. They say they give him a contract. Next thing you know, Pete's the cleanup hitter on a shitty team. Pete's the player on the team that everybody looks to. When Pete doesn't hit a home run, he shrivels up and dies. It's kind of what almost happened to him when he was in the Mets in 2022. He had to be the guy. Pete's comfortable with the Mets. Pete's here for a reason, okay? Now, I think if anybody on this lineup deserves it, Pete Alonso deserves a little protection in this lineup. Pete Alonso's never been protected in a New York Mets lineup. Now, if you look from the top 6, he has 6 players right there that can protect Pete Alonso. That is why I say to put Pete Alonso as your cleanup hitter, okay? I'm going to go over my lineup in a second, but anybody that needs protection in that lineup, you need to protect Pete, okay? You're going to have people like Soto in that lineup. You're going to have people like, Vientos in that lineup. You're going to have Lindor in that lineup. Pete Alonso batting 4th in that lineup. I know I went a little crazy the other day and said 55. That sometimes I do these videos and I get a little crazy. But I'm honestly going to say that Pete Alonso could give us 110 RBIs and realistically hit 40 home runs with a hope to hit 250 in that lineup. Pete Alonso is going to get shit to hit. Pete Alonso is going to get home runs. Pete Alonso is his batting average is going to go up a little bit. But you know what's lost on people a little bit that aren't Met fans? And Met fans saw this last year. Pete Alonso became a really, really good defensive first baseman. Lindor is the greatest defensive shortstop in baseball right now. But I'll tell you right now, every great shortstop makes these crazy throws. Pete's a vacuum cleaner over there at first place because of Francisco Lindor. And that also makes Francisco Lindor a better shortstop because Lindor could backhand, crazy double jump, flip, catch, just throw it, maybe might be off a little bit, and he knows Pete's going to catch it. Last year at the beginning of the season, Brett Beatty was my third baseman. Brett Beatty right now is in the minor leagues. Brett Beatty is somebody that Aiden was very enamored. He met his family, said he was really nice. Brett Beatty might be a really, really nice kid. Brett Beatty is not a professional baseball player. Brett Beatty is going to burn up the minor leagues. He's going to come to maybe a point in July or August where the Mets are playing well, and they say, you know what, let's give Beatty a little bit of a shot. Beatty's not a professional baseball player. You put Mark Vientos there at first base, that completely messes up the infield. Mark Vientos right now is the New York Mets third baseman for the foreseeable future. Either you got to say to Brett, you're not a baseball player, or you got to tell Beatty that, look, go back to Long Island, or wherever you're from, maybe join a bar league, maybe become a stockbroker, maybe do something because you're a really, really good baseball player. And these guys out there listening to me, you guys are all really, really good baseball players. But are you professional baseball players? No. Brett Beatty, you're a nice kid. You're a good player, but go be a stockbroker. Go be like something where you can make a lot of money. What did you, what did you major in college? Stop the madness now. Mark Vientos is the third baseman. And by signing Pete Alonso, the Mets did not have to make that decision. The Mets could say, Mark Vientos is my third baseman. And if he gets hurt, somebody could fill in. That's what we're talking about right now with the New York Mets. We're talking about a solid third baseman. Second base, a little suspect. Jeff McNeil. I know you're a fiery guy. I know you love the Mets. I know you're a clubhouse guy. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll take it second base. But, if you go on a tear where you bat 110 for the first couple of months, don't think Acuna's not going to scoop up and say, listen here, S.A., I'm taking second base and you're getting the fuck out of here. We're going to send you to Cleveland. We're going to send you to Cincinnati. We'll send you somewhere. This is my position right now, and you need to go. McNeil's not going to like it. Look, McNeil, you won the batting title one year, okay? But I don't know. All these guys, when I think about the Mets, you're just not on my list. So, McNeil, you're going to be all right for second base, but watch out. Acuna is going to be on your radar. This guy, Siri, he's going to be our center fielder. Don't know too much about him. I know he plays a really good center field. Defensively, he's going to be all over the place. Happy with that. This is somebody that I'm kind of excited to watch play because when you move over to left field, you got a guy named Brandon Nimmo. Now, Brandon Nimmo, I feel the same way about Brandon Nimmo as I feel about Pete Alonso. I feel when Brandon Nimmo last year was coming up with his contract, and he said that Brandon Nimmo is going to get $100 million playing for some team. Brandon Nimmo is going to get $25 million here. Brandon Nimmo is going to get this. Brandon Nimmo's a product of his environment as well as Pete. Brandon Nimmo loves the New York Mets. Now, Brandon Nimmo, there's a chance that he might be the nicest guy on the entire planet. There's never going to be a bad word said by him. And if anybody thinks that whole thing when he gets hit by a pitch or if he walks hustling to first base is an act, that is not an act by any stretch of the imagination. He is still a little leaguer at heart that plays the game like a little leaguer and plays the game like he's happy to be where he is and that it's a privilege to play professional baseball. That being said, his comfort level with the New York Mets came from that. His play came from that. So if Brandon Nimmo went to the Colorado Rockies to be their top center fielder and got $150 million, I don't think he'd be the same Brandon Nimmo. But Brandon Nimmo on the New York Mets is a stud. Brandon Nimmo on the New York Mets is a comfortable fielder. He's comfortable batting fifth, possibly switch back and forth with Vientos. You could put Vientos fifth if you want to move Nimmo up every once in a while. You can move Nimmo down maybe to ninth here and there if you want him to hit ahead of Lindor. So much things you could do with the Vientos and Nimmo switch. There's so much stuff you can do with Nimmo. But you know what, though? Put Nimmo in left field every day of the week. He's going to play 155 games. He's going to bat 275, and he's going to hit some home runs, and he's going to get some RBIs. And you know what else he's going to do? He's going to pump that fucking team up because he has energy and he has everything that goes into being a New York Mets baseball player. The one thing we need to do is bring back Iglesias. I got to throw that back in. We need that, oh my God, in that fucking stadium next year. That's something else they need to do. One more signing and I'll be happy, but it wasn't as big as the Pete signing. And then over in right field, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the decent right fielder, has kind of a spaghetti arm, but you know what? One of the best pure left-handed hitters I've seen since Mickey Mantle. That guy can hit from any part of the plate. He can hit if it's high. He can hit if it's low. He can adjust his stance. He can steal bases. He's a pure hitter, and I mean that. Him, Manny Ramirez, and Mickey Mantle, three of the best left-handed hitters I've ever seen hit. That being said, I don't think Soto wants to be the star of this team. So any Met fan out there who's complaining and worried and whatever, Francisco Lindor is the captain of this baseball team. Francisco Lindor is the leader of this baseball team. Soto is a guy that got to a team that wants to win a World Series and will be more than happy to fall in line. More than happy to say, I'm the three hitter. Keep me here for 162 games. I'm going to bat 340. I'm going to hit 30 home runs. I'm going to give you 145 RBIs. Because you know why? Because Lindor, you're going to be on base. Vientos, you're going to be on base. I'm getting RBIs and I'm protecting Pete. That's what's going to happen with Soto. Soto signing with the Mets was the best thing that Soto could have done for his career. Because Steve Cohen looked me dead in the eyes a couple of years ago and says, I want to win World Series. And yes, you're right, Dylan. It doesn't get much better than Juan Soto. I just hope and I pray, and I hope and I pray that somebody goes to him, says to him, I know you're a great hitter. I know you can hit the shit out of the ball. I know you do this well. But let me show you how to play right field. Maybe Starling Marte was not an all-star right fielder, but he's a good right fielder. Maybe Starling Marte could do a little something for Juan Soto that he did for Alvarez last year. I don't think Juan Soto is over talking to. I don't think Juan Soto is a guy that would look at Starling Marte and be like, what are you talking about all the time? I'm not taking any information from you. I do think Juan Soto should look at Starling Marte. And I think Starling Marte staying on this baseball team is a positive also, because you want to talk about locker room guys. After that conversation with Francisco Alvarez last year, Alvarez became a completely different person. Starling Marte staying in that dugout and being on the side of the New York Mets, being some kind of calming effect for these players, it's going to work with Soto too. Maybe he'll give some pointers to Soto, and maybe Soto will become an all-star for the right reasons, meaning right field. That's my Mets team for this year. I know what you're going to say. Pitching. Got to be honest with you. Pitching is okay. I'm okay with Sean Manaea being number one. I'm okay with Kodai Senga being number two, or they could be interchangeable. Because you're right, everybody out there. Everybody says we don't have a number one. We don't have a great pitching staff. The pitching staff did pretty good last year, throwing shit together and seeing what sticks. Manaea, very pumped, man. Very pumped about becoming a Met again. Very pumped about signing that contract. And if you don't see anything in Sean Manaea last year in pitching that nobody could figure him out. He's got that wide release and he gets pumped up after every game. Sean Manaea being my number one with that lineup, I'll show up World Series game one against the Yankees with that. I'll show up NLCS game one against the Dodgers with that. Just bring it on, bro. We just added to our hitting. We pretty much have the same pitching staff, but we added to our hitting. Clay Holmes, on the other hand. Yankee fans, you guys are laughing at us right now. Yankee fans, how is he going to be a starter? Baseball is a funny sport. Baseball is a sport where you guys watch it as much as I do. Baseball is a sport where the right coach can do the right things for the right people. Hear me out. Pitchers that pitched for the Tampa Bay Rays 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Tampa Bay Rays trying to stitch together teams. Tampa Bay Rays had an amazing pitching staff. Because I don't care what you say about Blake Snell. I don't care what you say about the guy that went to the Dodgers with that long last name. I don't know his name right now. Name some of these pitchers that had okay success coming out or coming into the major leagues. If you look where they started with one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. And they became pretty good. But I think if they would have stayed with the right pitching coach, they would have became great. Blake Snell would have became great. The kid I can't remember his Glasnow would have became great. So little things that pitching staffs could change in their pitchers goes a long way. And if you hear the scuttlebutt around the major leagues, the Mets have a top pitching staff / coaching staff / whatever you want to call them, to maybe put these guys in the right direction and maybe say, look, we're not going any further with our pitching staff right now, guys. This is it. You guys are going to be it. We need this out of you. We need you to get this amount of innings. We need you to switch up this pitch. We maybe need you to switch up to a 3 to a 4. Maybe you're not the number one today. Maybe you're the number one next couple weeks down the line. But I need you guys to pitch. I need you guys to give me 7 innings as a staff. I need you guys to give me over 100 pitches. I need you, when it counts the most, to get in there and not be afraid of the moment. like Garrett Cole, afraid of the moment, not pitching to Xander Bogaerts. I won't talk about that anymore. I just wanted to throw that in because I think Garrett Cole is a pussy. Anyway, that being said, pitching is going to be a little hard to overcome this year for the New York Mets, but the addition of Juan Soto and the addition coming up soon, I guess, of Jose Iglesias doing everything he possibly can, that Met team right there is better than last year because of Juan Soto. It's going to be more pumped than it was last year. And there are teams out there that are scared of the Dodgers. There are teams out there that should be scared of the Dodgers. I'm going to put the Yankees in this comment too. No New York baseball team is fucking scared of the LA Dodgers. Bring that shit on. Bring Shohei Ohtani on. Because I'm telling you right now, next year, start giving that guy some chin music. Because you know what? No one's ever put that guy in his place. He never switches his stance. Shake him up a little bit. Like I'm going to say it one more time. New York baseball is not afraid of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Bring that shit on next year. I don't care what you did with your pitching staff. Bring on that Crane, Clayton Kershaw, who's going to be out in a couple of weeks. Bring on anything you want because we got hitters and we got tough dudes. When I say tough dudes, Jesse Winker. I forgot about Jesse Winker. Now, Jesse Winker may not look like much on paper. Jesse Winker is one of the best trolls in baseball right now. Jesse Winker is somebody that could get under your skin more than anybody else in the major leagues. Jesse Winker is a guy that if he plays for your team, you love him. If you're playing against him, you hate him because Jesse Winker could go down swinging on 3 pitches. But you know what Jesse Winker knows when he's going up to bat? He knows he's going to hit the ball 500 feet, even if he strikes out. And he's going to look you dead in the eyes, and he's going to tell you with his eyes, and he's going to tell you with his mouth, get the fuck out of my way and let me hit because I'm hitting a goddamn home run. It's not going to happen all the time, but that's something that the Mets need on that baseball team. They need balls. And the guys that have balls on that team that just didn't show too much has an alpha guy that's going to show his. The rest of you guys, let's start showing yours. Pete, show us. One more thing about the New York Mets. Francisco Lindor. They need to put that C on your uniform. They need to tell you that nobody else in the room, nobody else is home. You stay behind a little bit. The conversation has to happen that we're putting this C on your chest. This C means captain. David Wright was captain of this baseball team. Francisco Lindor, you've been a part of this organization now for 4, almost 5 years. You have a long time left on your contract. You should have been the MVP last year, but you showed so much poise. You showed greatness. You showed moments. Lead us. Make us proud. Lead the New York Mets to a World Series. And let's fucking go. All right, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl. That's my Murph and sometimes E-Dubs show for the day. I can't imagine that without E-Dubs, I almost spoke for 2 hours. E-Dubs, your job might be in jeopardy, bro. You might have took off the wrong weekend because I got 2 kids right now sitting on this chat right now that would love to take your place. So the Murph and sometimes E-Dubs show might become the Murph and Dylan Dempsey show. Or maybe the Murph and Volk show. How about even the Murph and Murph show? That's right, Aiden. I'm calling you out too. All right, guys. Yes, Steve, you and Dylan will be the new E-Dubs. Both you guys, I'm telling you right now while you listen, text me, call me. I got one more good podcast in me, maybe the next day or 2. I got some more sports I want to talk about. Why don't you guys hit me up? We'll talk Super Bowl. I also want to talk about other stuff because I'm doing a political podcast this week that is going to trigger and piss off a ton of people. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a commercial about that. Cut. Guys, stay tuned to the Murph and sometimes E-Dub show this week because we're not going to be talking about sports at some point. We're going to be talking about politics, and I'm giving people a major trigger warning. I have a lot of stuff on my mind, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people. But you know what, though? I don't give a fuck because this world is crazy right now, and we need to take it back. So stay tuned this week for a political podcast from Murph. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I am going to call it a trigger warning. Thanks a lot, guys, for listening, and I'll see you guys soon. The Murph and Sometimes E-Dub Show. Keep Talking 365 at YouTube. Let's Talk 1972 at TikTok. And you can find us on Facebook too. That's Edub's thing. Let's see if he gets this message. Take care, guys.